Hey everybody, welcome to We Run on Reruns. I'm Amanda, and I'm here with my brother Eric.
How's everybody doing? We are now into getting close to the end here of season 2 of Stranger Things. We are talking about chapter 7, The Lost Sister, today, and as we do, Stranger Things season 5 has now officially launched and is out there.
Yes.
I haven't seen it. Have you watched it?
I've watched all of the
That's
episodes.
okay. That's good.
Yes.
That's fine. I've been out of town,
Yeah.
so I haven't had a chance to actually sit down and see them. I will have watched them, though, by the time we do another Stranger Things podcast. That's for sure.
Yeah, we binge. I watched, I think 2 of them the night they came out, and then 2 more, and then 1, because there's 5 out total.
There you go.
And yeah, it's really good.
I was going to say
really
positive reviews so far. Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Really positive reviews.
I wouldn't have expected you to give negative reviews unless it was real terrible.
Oh, I would be right. And honestly, it would be hard for me to lie about that. If it was that rough and it's oh no, what's happening here? That would be, yeah, that would be tough to hide for me. But no, I'm really enjoying it and very excited with how things are left. I'll just leave it that way. Obviously,
let's
can't
leave it
say
there.
Too much here because you haven't seen it.
I haven't seen it yet.
And we're gonna do. So after we both do an initial watch of the episodes, then we'll do a rewatch, and then with the podcast in mind, and take notes and do our thing, and then we'll share our feedback with you all.
Absolutely.
That way. So, yeah. But I definitely couldn't help but just watch it. I'm maybe we'll watch them one at a time,
Listen,
spread it out a little bit. I was
no. Once you commit.
No.
You're in.
Yeah.
You're in.
Yeah.
There's no way that anyone's I'm going to put on one and I'm going to go back 2 weeks later and watch the next one.
I know.
That's just not reasonable. That's crazy.
Yeah, and we just had a relaxing Thanksgiving this year and just kind of hanging around. So it's you know what? Now is the perfect time anyway. And you know what? Netflix knew that.
It's they designed it that way.
It's they did it this way intentionally.
Yeah. For sure. Smart, by the way. Smart.
So smart, because then now we have to wait until
you have to wait till Christmas,
right?
Yeah. And then New Year's. So it's
and perfect. Then New Year's for the yes, and I think that I see this wrapping up nicely. I had moments as I'm watching the episodes where I remember you were talking about what if it ends up being this dream or they're in this fantasy world. I'm oh god, I kept having these thoughts what if, oh no, there was this one moment and we'll talk about it. But yeah, there was this one moment where I vividly had that.
I genuinely don't think it will be like that.
No.
I did have some thoughts along those lines as we talk through today, but I don't think it'll end that way. I think they'll do it a little bit more justice than that. But you never can tell.
With today's, you never can tell, and you're right. It probably was with the episode that we're going to discuss today with this in mind, because sometimes Stranger Things does some weird things. They make some bizarre choices.
Yeah.
As we have here with The Lost Sister, definitely an episode that stands on its own, and is quite unique. And
you know what's funny is
I
had mentioned, we had literally talked about it being a cliffhanger or a cliff climber, if you will. And I was that's right. The next episode is going to jump off. I forgot that this episode was wedged in here. But I will say, I have never forgotten this episode. This episode has always stood out to me.
Yeah.
And we'll go from there.
For some reason, I'm
going to tell you right now, it's not for great reasons. I don't want to give away all my answers later, but you'll see what I rate it later. But it's definitely it's a standout, and it's not the best standout as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, agreed. And wait, so before we move on, did you say you have? I just want to get this on the record. Did you say you have in mind when you're going to watch season 5?
Okay, so I intend probably before we watch the next podcast. Before we record the next podcast, which will be like, about a week from now, that I'll have watched all 5 of them.
Nice. Okay. All right.
That's the goal.
Just curious. All right. Nice. It's good to have goals. We have lofty goals here.
That's right. Gives me a week to watch 5 episodes.
Yeah. You can make that happen.
I think I can make that happen.
I believe in you. Yeah. So, but where we left things off with season 2, episode 6, was we had Will being monitored by the team of doctors at the Department of Energy. We had Dustin and Steve meeting up with Lucas and Max, where they work together to set a trap for Dart. Then at Murray's place, romance was sparking between Nancy and Jonathan after they stuffed envelopes together with the evidence that they wanted to mail to the news outlets. And meanwhile, we had Will directing several of the hazmat guys through the tunnels, but it's really a trap.
It wasn't a great end for the good guys. The good guys end up in a bad spot. As all these guys, all these agents or scientists are basically trapped down and killed by a swarm of demogorgons. Helped Steve out a little bit because Steve and the kids were about to get killed. Let's put it bluntly. And because they were all called away by the hive mind, that's it. Mm-hmm. Like, they got spared, fortunately for them.
Yeah. And one thing I do want to mention before we kind of jump into this episode is one thing that's been on my mind. I feel like I mentioned this to you off the podcast, as I was wondering, or I was asking you rather, like I was wondering when the term mind flayer was going to come into play, because like I keep, we've seen, what we were calling just the giant spider like thing in the distance, which ends up being then known as the mind flayer. And I think that's in not this episode, because this one kind of deviates away from that storyline, but it's in the following one, I believe. So it's right before, and I think Dustin brings it up.
It's one of these things where we go back and forth. You and I have gone back and forth on trying whether or not I know it's a rewatch podcast, but at the same time, people might be watching it with us. So do we want to say the terms that we know before the characters know them? And we kind of bounce around back and forth with that. So if we're avoiding saying something along those lines, that's probably why. Like, we're just going to wait until it's said in a show. But for the most part, everybody knows what this is, right?
Yeah.
The mind flayer is obviously what's at the heart of this whole thing.
Right. That one's just been on my mind. I think especially with watching the latest episodes, I'm like, oh, I meant to mention that on the podcast.
And we're talking about hive technology and being able to coordinate with each other through thoughts, and they're all part of one being, and like that's what this is.
Right.
That's what we're talking about.
Yeah, exactly. So this episode, so chapter 7, The Lost Sister, we jump in here with, we're back with 11 and Aunt Becky at her house, where 11 has been hanging out, where she ran off to. So 11 is trying to explain what she saw in her visions. And she's saying, I think this is why, meaning her mama wants her to find the other girl that she saw with her in the rainbow room. And her aunt starts showing her these files that her mom had kept. And then 11 is finding the girl in the file. So she's now recognizing it's like, okay, this is her. So she takes the whole file, she puts the blindfold on, and she's looking for her again. And she can't seem to find her. And while she's doing this, she's on a cot in her room. So in the room that had like her crib and everything. So I think she's trying to maybe use all those objects around her to just feel more in the moment, more like closer maybe to a younger version of herself. So then she's going into that black space and she just sees a fire in the distance. And at that point, she then wakes up and overhears her Aunt Becky on the phone. And Eric, do you think she's talking with the cops here, or
She's definitely
with
talking
social services, or
yes, one of those.
yeah.
Like, it's not implied who she's talking with, but it's definitely some sort of agency with the idea of, hey, this kid showed up. This is what's happened. This is what I know so far. By the way, these other people, because she mentions Joyce Byers by name, were here a year ago looking for her. So I don't know what to do. Somebody help me. And if I was her, I'd probably do the same thing. That seems like the logical thing to do, even though it's like, we know as watchers of the character, it's absolutely the most backwards move to make. And once 11 sees that, she's in the wind.
And I get that it's logical, but also part of me is like, she just said, hey, this is your home now. You're safe here. And now, and she's essentially almost kind of used her to communicate with her sister, and now she's immediately on the phone. It just feels very forced. I don't know.
Well,
it felt really rushed from what we saw from the aunt in the previous episode.
Well, I think that goes towards a lot of this whole episode, to be honest with you.
Okay.
There's as we get going, let's just call this what it is. This is like the 11 episode. This is all 11 all the time. We don't see much of anybody else. So this is all 11 and like her personal quest, because in the last episode, 11 was not existent at all. And we do get that connecting piece later where we see the phone or the radio call that Hopper was trying to make. That'll play back in. But this is all 11. And so we're just seeing what 11 was up to while that other episode 6, was playing out.
That's right.
And I
that part was... Yeah, go ahead.
I understand that is a reasonable tack to take, but we're just going to be talking about 11 throughout this whole thing. And as such, I do want to point out, I thought it was very interesting because when she found who we eventually know to be as Callie, when she found Callie by like the fire in her, dream area, she wasn't using a TV to block out white noise or anything. She didn't have a blindfold on. She just laid down and just channeled it, which means her ability to do that is getting stronger. And she does that a number of times throughout this episode, where she can just go into that black space as she sees fit, as long as she can sit and like concentrate.
Focus, right? Yeah. It's like she's learned how to control it better, right? Because I was thinking,
she does use that every now and then. We see her get some white noise going to help block it out, but she doesn't need it.
Right. No, that's a good point. I was thinking because maybe she was in that room where she was close to her mom and she was feeling this connection, but you're right. I think it's just her getting more in tuned with her abilities in that way too.
Well, there was two sequences there. There was the one where she's in the room and she can't find anything, and then she eventually goes to her room and lies down, and that might be the same room, but the aunt is no longer there, and then she just lays down on the cot, and boom, she snaps into it, and she's ready to go and is learning more information. And as she goes to tell the aunt is on the phone, and she realizes it's time to go right now.
Yeah, then she grabs Cash and she's out of there. But as you mentioned earlier, I do like how you find out exactly what 11 was doing alongside, that was running parallel to the timeline from last week, right? That is the cool thing, is that like, because of that phone call from Hopper, it's like, oh, this is where she was at. This is what she was up to when that was going on. But other than that, it was, there's a lot of other stuff here. So now, again, so she grabbed the cash from her aunt's wallet and she is in the wind. And then that's when we have the credits. So just a few minutes for the intro for this episode. Then we have 11. She's on a bus and she is in Chicago at this point.
Yep.
And she is just walking down an alley, walking through some sketchy areas. Like she is then she just kind of stumbles upon this warehouse, and you don't really know how she got there. It seems like she's just good at finding people, which is what is mentioned earlier. I'm sorry, later in this episode. Yeah.
She's just matching up the visions that she had in her head and kind of like being drawn to them. And then you're seeing like she had this snapshot and this snapshot and this, and then she's just like finding them in order.
Yeah.
And like making a path to where she needs to get to, which is to this bin or this trash can with a fire in it that has this collective of people around it inside like a warehouse, if you will.
Yeah, it's almost like she's using this very powerful sense of intuition. And she sees this group of older teens kind of hanging out in this warehouse, and she's saying hey to them, and she tells them that she's looking for her sister. I mean, again, 11 doesn't really have a ton of social awareness or knows a lot of social cues, so it's sort of like she's just putting herself out there and probably is not really necessarily gauging the threat level of these people. Like, she's just very point blank, like, hey, I'm looking for my sister, and she shows them the picture.
I wonder that sometimes. I don't know if she doesn't have some of the social cues anymore, or if she just doesn't care. Because she knows if she needs to, she'll just throw this guy against the wall. It doesn't matter.
That's fair. Yeah.
Like whatever you want to come threaten at me is fine. As soon as you try to make a move, I'm just going to obliterate you. And so there's like a quiet confidence that she doesn't have to display. And so there is definitely some of her still trying to learn to use her abilities. There's definitely still some learning to understand the social situations, but I just don't know that she's worried about learning all the social cues in that sort of situation.
Well, that is not the most critical thing.
No, it's
at
not.
This time, too. So, right. She tells them she's looking for her sister. She shows the picture from her aunts that she took, and they identify the girl in the picture as Kali. And the guy then immediately, one of the guys threatens her with a knife, and 11 then makes him drop it immediately with her mind. And it's like, maybe it was actually Kali. I'm sorry. It looked
Kali
like,
got him to drop the knife because she made him envision spiders crawling all over his hand.
That's right.
And so he dropped the knife and tried to shake him off. And then he looked at her and he said, "Hey, you stay out of my head." Because he knew what happened, but it's too late.
Because it looked like Elle at first, but then Kali was like coming down the stairs, and Elle is saying, I saw you in the rainbow room to Kali, and they show each other their tattoos. Immediately, Kali, recognized her as well, and they said sister to each other, and they hugged, and you think, oh, who's this nice girl who's going to help
this is
11?
Good. This is positive.
Yeah, this is great. This is great. So they talk about each other's special abilities for a little while. Kali is saying her gift is that she can make people see or not see whatever she wants. And she shows her a butterfly and makes it kind of float around in front of her, almost like a little hologram. And it tells her to think of it like magic. And Elle is asking if she's real. And Kali is saying she's felt like a piece of her is missing, but now it's not. And, I think your mother knew that we belong together. And it kind of, so Kali is trying to make her, I think, draw her in to that sentimental piece, and saying that now this is her home. So I've now noticed that we have Hopper giving her a home, Mike giving her a home, Aunt Becky giving her a home, and now Kali giving her a home. Like, this is like the fourth person
I literally wrote those all down. I'm like, this is the fourth home that she's got. And I think that is part of the take home message of this episode, is that Eleven is ultimately searching for a home. Mm-hmm. And Mike has offered home, and Hopper's offered home, and Terry is offered home. Well, Terry's sister is offered home.
Yeah.
And now Kali is offering home, and she's still trying to figure out, well, what's home?
Yeah. Yep. And Kali is impressed that Elle found her with only the picture. So she must be some type of human radar detector, is what she calls her. And obviously, this is when it's like, you, as the audience, we realize she's planning to use 11 to her benefit, right? So they have a bigger plan in mind, and getting the sense that it's probably not all positive. So then we are back in the black space, and you hear Hop speaking to 11 through the radio. So this is where we kind of like sync up the timelines from the last episode, where Hop was in his truck and he's trying to, you know, just make amends with 11 because they'd had that huge blowout fight and really haven't connected since. And
to me,
he's just worried.
To me, it also like connects the timeline. Like, it could be her looking at something from the past, but the I envision it is she's hearing him do this while he's doing it.
No, that's what I'm saying too. Yeah, that's what I think the whole point is like 11's doing this while he's in his truck right there. Agreed.
Well, but we have seen her go into this space and see things that have happened before. So theoretically, I mean, she's gone in and seen, well, I guess, hold on.
I don't think so. I think
so. Hold on. She's gone into this black space and seen Terry, who has then given her all these past emotions, but that might be not from that space. So maybe not. Either way, I believe it is live. I believe it's live.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear what you're saying, though, because, like, with the Terry stuff, I think that was maybe a little bit different, because it was, like, when she touched her, that then she was, like, channeling that stuff through her. But, yeah, I think for the most part, it's almost like when we're in there, like you had said, like, episodes back, where that's kind of, what was it, the grasshopper on the side of the wire?
Yeah, you're on the side of the tightrope.
Or the flea. Yeah, the flea. Yeah, the tightrope.
The flea can go above and below, and this is kind of the side of the tightrope.
Yeah, you know? So I like that. Again, I mean, this is where we are then with 11. She is approaching the radio, and she's listening, and, you know, you can see 11, I think, is starting to feel like that sense of nostalgia for her, what I'll just say is, you know, her real home at this point. But at this moment, though, Ella's waking up, and Kali is introducing her to the rest of the group. So they're all outcasts, right? And they help Kali fight back against these bad men who hurt them. And you know, Ella's trying to prove herself to them, saying, hey, I'm a fighter. I've killed, right? Because she also, I think, wants to, like, have them realize, she wants to be part of something. That's the sense that I get in this moment.
She's looking for home, right?
She is looking
for home. And it's noteworthy that she notices that these four, it's Axel, Dottie, Mick, and Funshine, are not like us.
That's right.
Not like us, to quote Kendrick Lamar. They're not like us, right? They don't have the tattoos. They don't have powers. They were just left behind by society. Yeah. And here they are, all trying to fight back on essentially a hit list of people that Kali has gathered that were associated with the Department of Energy.
Right. And we don't really get any explanation around, like, how this list was acquired. at this point. I don't really know if we ever get a lot of answers around that. Listen, this is all
she did her homework and found the people.
And it's
listen, we move on.
Yeah.
Accept and move past, and like we'll talk about that.
There's a lot of that. Yeah, so Callie is telling her she was just like her once, and she used to keep it all inside, but the pain spread. So Callie is making Elle then try to pull a train or a train car with her mind toward her. So they're sort of like in a little training session here where, no pun intended, where she's trying to grab this train with her mind and drag it, because I think Callie's also trying to see what can she really do. What are we working with?
She's coaching her through this whole thing, being like, listen, you told me you flipped a van. Why did you flip the van? It's because you were angry at the people who were chasing you at that moment. You've got to channel that anger.
Yeah.
So then 11 has these images of anger, like Max being around Mike, like Hopper yelling at her at the cabin and her blasting all the windows out, and some other moments that really made her mad. And
the bad men dragging her down the hall.
Like the treatment of her mother, and all this starts helping her channel dragging the train forward, and she's realizing that she needs to use her anger to help with this more than just wanting to do it.
And that's when we've seen all of those crazy things happen, like, defeating the Demogorgon when she was screaming, and that's when it evaporated and just turned into dust. Or
maybe dust. Maybe it was just Lucas's slingshot. Who knows?
I know. Hot take. I like it.
We do have somebody that commented on a reel that we made about that, saying, "Hey, just rolled a natural 20. Like, got it. Bang."
That's right.
I'm like, I don't hate that call. Don't hate that call.
So now we're with Callie, where she's telling Elle about a bad man who would hurt them at the lab, this guy Ray Carroll. So she's got a specific person in mind at this point. And
Elle picked it out. 11 picked it out. Because she asked her, do you recognize any of these people? And she showed him a whole long list of people and all these pictures. And she remembered that one as the guy who was in the vision that cranked up the electric.
That's right.
On Terry.
Yes.
So 11 picked the guy, but she could have picked anybody from this laundry list of people that Callie had already pre-selected.
Again, where this laundry list came from.
Where this list comes from, who
knows? Well, then they rob a gas station to get food and miscellaneous supplies.
Whoa.
What?
We also have 11's makeover session.
Oh, gosh. Oh, thank you, Eric.
Slick back the hair.
Oh, no.
Put the dark eyeshadow on. Bitchin'.
Thank you. That actually was probably like my favorite part of the entire episode.
That was the best part.
I'm like, this is insane though. It's like, okay, just put on some dark eyeshadow. You'll be great now. I'm sure it'll be fine. Boom. Yeah.
You know how many kids in high school think that's all you got to do? Like, that's it.
That's right.
Like, it's unbelievable.
Oh my gosh. Well, now she's this is already like her third makeover of the series. So, she is, now that she's ready to go, then they decide, let's rob a gas station to get food and miscellaneous stuff. And 11 has to throw the clerk against the wall, who is holding them at gunpoint then, because it's like...
Well, very, very cool way that they did this, though, with Callie basically saying, hey, your bathroom's flooding, and making him think that the bathroom is flooding.
I know.
And... she's like, and they're like, okay, we got about a minute. Like, pick out whatever you want. And so they're picking out stuff. And of course, 11 goes to grab an apple, which I find is super funny. Like, of all the things you're going to grab, she would go and get an apple. And then she sees the Eggos and is like, oh, I'll take it. I'll take these instead.
And I'm thinking, 11, oh, honey, where are you going to toast those things? Like, this is just...
You don't need to toast Eggos.
Ew.
I mean, I wouldn't eat them frozen, but they'll thaw out. They'll
they thaw... Oh, God. That sounds pretty bad.
No, they'll be all right.
That sounds pretty rough. Um,
Could be
so,
worse.
well, then they all put on these super creepy masks in the van and approach this house. And I'm like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
these are like the masks from my nightmares. Like they were just all these like little farm animals
Oh.
and like happy faces and like just really creepy masks.
For sure. For sure. I like how like this is like the makeover continued. Like Eleven's trying on all the masks.
I know. Yeah.
Finds the one that she likes best. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
It's not her last makeover, by the way. I
Oh.
know she's got another one coming up.
Definitely
A
not.
big time one.
Yeah, she has a lot of different looks. And I also enjoy how this gentleman is watching Punky Brewster at his
Yes.
house. Yeah.
Yes.
I
Love
like
that. Thought,
Yeah.
man, this guy's about to die.
Mhm.
And if
Oh,
the last thing I
that's rough.
watched on TV was Punky
That's rough.
Brewster, I don't know that I'd be thrilled about that.
No. No. Well, they tell him to sit down and he tells them to take whatever they want. Well, then they remove their masks and ask if he remembers them. And he says no, but Callie makes him have a vision of when they were young. And
Yeah.
he quickly says he just did whatever they told him to do, that they told him that they were sick. And so he was just trying to help. And he's saying that he can take them to Brenner, which actually this to me was probably the biggest takeaway from this episode is it's like, wait, what now? And Eleven is saying Papa's gone, and he's saying, oh no, he's alive. And Kali is all like, do not lie to us, Ray. And if he's alive, we will find him. 11 is then squeezing his neck with her mind and dragging him.
As one does.
Yes, as one does. And dragging him across the floor up until she sees a picture of him with his kids. And then the other guy finds his kids
Yeah.
in the back
Axel's
room.
going through the rooms.
So, yeah.
Like Axel and I think it was Mick or no, Dottie are going through all the rooms, taking like
Yes.
prescription drugs and cash and whatever they can find lying around. They open a door and the two little girls are huddled in the corner on the phone with the police.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh crap.
Yeah. So,
Which does also show Eleven's visions are not flawless.
no.
Like she saw him watching TV. She does not see the entire apartment.
She wasn't doing this like perimeter scan of every room
No.
either. No, not at all. And maybe that's something
no.
that she's going to start doing now. But Callie is saying, did he, she's asking, did he show your mother mercy? And it's like, no, because 11 doesn't want to hurt him now that she knows about the kids, especially. And I think she was kind of having doubts anyway, because 11 usually, unless I would say that unless like the act is happening right in front of her, she's not wanting to just be overtly violent necessarily.
This guy may have done stuff in the past
Yeah.
to her or to her mother, but he is not
actively like
attempting to actively harm them in any way right now.
Yeah.
They're going in with an attempt to harm him. And while he may have done something in the past, and we know we have visions of him doing something to Terry for sure, and maybe Kali.
Yeah.
We don't have any visions of this guy doing anything to Elle either.
No, it's true. And Kali is now ordering Jane, or I don't know why I have Jane here.
Well, she calls her Jane.
That's what it
She's
was.
called she's referred to as Jane throughout this episode.
That's right.
By Kali and the crew.
Yes. Yes.
So, I mean, 11 is only a name that Mike and the boys have because
Of
that's
how
all
they
they
found
had.
her. Yeah, no, you're right.
Yeah.
I'm like, why do I have Jane written down here? But yeah, so she's just saying, yeah, Jane, kill him now, and just ordering her to do it, and she won't. So Kali pulls a gun which Eleven then tears from her hands and throws it against the wall. And they all run off at this point, and they get into the van. So I mean, I think at this point also, listen, these are still young kids. Like, they're in a panic. They don't know. They've just kind of made this impulsive decision to break into this house. So even though they have, these special abilities, this is not this well orchestrated, thought out plan here. So
first of all, they don't all have special abilities.
Well, Holly and Eleven.
Two people that have special.
Right.
Yeah. They have two people that have special abilities. Yeah. The rest of them, adamantly, as they were planning this out, kept saying, "We don't want to do this."
Yeah.
None of them wanted to do this because they had just come off that
risky
situation that we saw at the very beginning of this season, where we saw them like fleeing through the streets and making the bridge collapse. And they're like, listen, the action, it's too hot right now. We can't go out there and do this again. People are looking for us. But Kali was convinced that Eleven needed to do this now.
Yeah. Well,
and she's probably right, because if you get her to do it right now, she'll do it forever.
Yeah.
But she doesn't. She ends up not doing it.
That's right. She was not
and so
into this at all. And,
no.
And in the van, Kali's telling her, don't do that to me ever again. And Kali's saying she remembers when Eleven was just gone one day. Like, they're hanging out, friends at the lab, and and then Eleven she had just vanished, and she ran until she found a home of her own, but eventually she lost them too. And basically she's just on a mission to hurt anyone who hurt her at all in her past. So she's been through a lot. It sounds like she's
experienced a lot of trauma.
And she is just now just taking out her rage on anyone who had encountered her, which, it's understandable too. She's going John Wick on everyone's ass here. So that's
it is. I mean, listen, you don't want to find a situation where this is an understandable action, but you get
She's a kid.
And kids who have been through this over and over and over and over and over again, this is the only world that she knows. Mm-hmm. This world of violence and nobody being there ultimately to reach out except for this band of misfits who don't have any source of income. So in order to buy food and whatnot, they've got to commit crimes and steal money and steal things and knock over gas stations and convenience stores. So now as we are back at their safe haven, their warehouse from this van ride, we see Eleven upstairs in that room where she and Kali kind of became sisters and told each other stories. And Kali meets her up there to try and discuss, what they should be doing. And Eleven is kind of having second thoughts, to which Kali then makes Papa appear and gives Eleven that vision. And you can see Eleven walking up trying to say that it doesn't exist, but it's too much for her to visualize. And she's very upset by the whole thing and, ends up backing down and sitting down. And Kali's making Dr. Brenner say all these amazing, not amazing things, but very hurtful things to Eleven. And then she kind of makes him, disappear as this scene kind of comes to an end with Kali trying to say, listen, you belong here. And as we're doing that, we are flashing to the downstairs room where Axel and Dottie are playing poker with some of the money that they've won. And Funshine, I believe, is also involved in the game. But Mick is the watch. She's sitting on the ladder, staring out the window. And after Axel busts out, Dottie keeps saying, hey, why don't you come down, Mick? Why don't you play a hand? And Mick's like, listen, I play one hand, I end up playing two, you play 3. I'm going to lose all my money to you guys too. And as she's having this conversation, her attention is drawn from the window, and we see a flood of police officers rolling in to the downstairs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're now surrounding the warehouse, and we see 11 also holding on to, it was either Mike or Hopper's shirt, or maybe it was a shirt that Hopper had even gotten 11. It wasn't clear, but she was holding it close and remembering the kind things that they had all said to her. So at this point, she's really thinking, okay, what have I gotten myself into? I really am getting homesick for my crew here.
And she ends up, and she sees, Hopper at that panel saying, oh, that's a graveyard. I was at that graveyard. And then she sees Mike yelling, it's a trap, it's a trap, it's a trap. And just as that's happening, the cops, boom, we're busting through, and they're entering into the bottom. And Collie basically hustles everybody together in an upstairs room and goes, and just kind of like puts up her hands like, hey, stop, hold on for a second. And everybody freezes, and she just makes everybody invisible. Makes all the officers not see them as they come walking through the room, searching for things. As they all stand smack dab in the middle of the room, none of them can see them, which is impressive. Like this power of Collie's is unbelievable.
Yeah, her power is hers combined with 11's powers. They could really do just about anything together.
They could pretty much do whatever they wanted. And they essentially get enough of a space that they can all then take off down the staircase and out the door. And as they get outside, there's police officers out there that do see them. And we get kind of into a little bit of a gunfight. Axel's the only one with a gun, but he's firing at the cops. And there's like, I'm thinking to myself, dude, what are you doing? You're like 1-on-7 here. Like, you're not going to do anything.
Ridiculous.
So he's shooting his gun. They're all shooting back at them. They're like diving behind the van and getting involved or getting in and getting ready to pull out. And you can hear the gun Axel shooting. Like it's click, click, like he's out of ammo. So there's nothing left to shoot. They all get in the van, and Collie again brings up out of nowhere these giant steel walls that aren't actually there, but make it appear as though that the officers cannot get to them, that there's this completely solid structure. And those walls, she brings them all the way up into the sky, as high as you can go, which is really quite something. But while that's happening,
11
is having that conversation saying, I know that my friends can't help me, but I need to save them. Danger. I can help them. Yeah. So I think her line was like, Collie said, listen, they can't do anything for you. And she's like, no, but I can save them.
That's right.
And so I'm going back to my friends. I'm going home. That's what she says, as she has now in her mind figured out where home is. It's not with Terry. It's not with Collie. It is with Hopper and Mike and the gang. And she's going to make her way back.
That's right. And then at the very end, 11 is back on the bus, and some lady scooted in next to her, and she's asking what she's doing, where she's going. And she says she's going home. And so again, we have that reference back to home. And then I just have, yay,
this time,
11.
this time 11 is saying, I'm going home, as opposed to everybody else telling her, hey, you're home, you're home, you're home. Now she's saying, I'm going home. And that's a big difference. Well, now we're going to jump into our IMDb ratings and favorites and least favorite characters section of our podcast here. And before I do, I feel like we kind of have to wrap this up a little bit here. Just in general, this episode is very different.
Yeah.
So, in summary, what are your thoughts here on all of episode 7, which was a shorter episode and a very different episode?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I have the same thoughts watching it now as I did when I originally saw it, and that is, what's the purpose of this? Like, why do we, like, what is being told throughout this entire episode that couldn't have been summarized maybe in, like, a flashback or in, like, a piece of a scene, or I don't know, just making it more condensed? Like, could this storyline have easily have run at the same time, like kind of been woven into last week's, for example, where it's like chapter 6, like we saw what was going on in Hawkins. You could have had little pieces of what's then happening with 11. Did we need an entire episode dedicated to this? No, it was not good. That's I don't think Kali just did not, she was not likable. I don't think she was necessarily supposed to be. But
no, I don't think she was.
It just felt so weird and forced. I felt like the whole group of like misfit kids, it was like, okay, I don't know. It just felt forced, especially when, like we've talked about, we really tend to love the episodes where you have the whole group working together, one on as a united front, and then you kind of have this like Elle is off doing her own thing, which we were kind of struggling with as even like a side plot to the previous episode. So to have the entire episode then just about 11, it just didn't feel right. Yeah. It didn't seem like it was needed. No,
it didn't.
Felt wrong.
No, like no Dustin in this, no Jonathan, no Nancy, no Steve, no Lucas, no Joyce. Like no Will.
No, you only
we saw Mike for a second. We saw Hopper for a second. We saw Max for a second.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
And they were all like flashbacks to things we had already seen them do. This episode, if you had taken it and chopped it up and split it up between The Spy, episode 6, you might have been able to tell the same story. Right. I'm always on board for this. And in fact, one of the things I said very early on was I love that Stranger Things does such a good job of showing and not telling. Mm-hmm. So I'm glad that they didn't just tell us, oh, by the way, I ran off and met this group of kids.
Weird
and
too.
That would have been insane.
Yeah.
So like, no, that's dumb. But you could have shown us this through, other episodes as a side plot, and I'd probably have been happier with it. On its own, it's just so weird. And I remember thinking, as I watched it the first time, going, what am I watching?
Right.
Now, I will say, what's the take-home message from this? Well, the take-home is that 11 has figured out on her own, where does she truly belong? So the idea of her trying to run away and find mom or find this person or see if I can find people from the lab, that's done because she knows where she wants to be. And I think that's the whole purpose.
I think so.
Of this. Yeah. It eliminates all of these other options from her because she doesn't want to go anywhere else. She wants to be with these people. It's her choice to do that.
Yeah, it's like
that's the message that she has learned from this whole thing.
Yeah, because it's almost like maybe they were thinking, well, if we have this, 12, 13-year-old girl who is just finding out about, the world around her.
Yeah.
Does it make sense for her to just, and she's being essentially held captive in this cabin too. And it's like, does it make sense for her to
introduced Terry in season 1. So that we know that Terry is out there.
Well, right. We know.
And so if 11 doesn't go to see Terry at some point, then you just always know, but there is somebody else out there, and you just didn't know that. Well, now she does. She knows all of that. And she has followed that path as far as it will go. I will say, just throwing this out there, wouldn't it be something if season 5 comes to an end and 11 goes, you know what, I will jump in the van because everything else has been a vision that Kali has made her see. All
God,
of this.
Please stop that. That is a
I'm just saying.
horrible suggestion. And I'll be
like, you know what?
writing hate
I think I
mail
will
to
get in that
someone.
van after all, as Kali has completely orchestrated seasons 3, 4, and 5
Wow.
just to get 11 to join the gang. How horrible an ending would that be?
That would be just pure garbage.
I'm just saying, if it happens, you heard it here first.
Yeah.
I haven't even seen a single episode of season 5 yet.
Well, but I do think that because we had Hopper essentially keeping 11, captive in this cabin, although for her own safety, she had nowhere to go.
I mean,
but she wasn't allowed to leave.
No. But
so it makes sense.
Keeping her captive sounds so much worse than it really is, because it feels she was also, I hear what you,
it's pretty,
I get it.
I know that he had good intentions, but I'm just saying, especially a 13-year-old kid, it's like, hey, this is your life now. I understand why they had her run off.
Hopper's mistake is that he should have introduced her to the kids sooner.
Yes. I mean,
then she wouldn't have run off.
It bothers me even the fact that Mike didn't know, let alone 11 being.
Mike gets real mad at Hopper.
I that makes sense to me. It's like, no kidding, dude. Especially they were all in this together. I feel like it takes too long for the adults to let the kids, I guess have more of their trust and be really, it's like, they've only been able to get as far as they have because of the kids and their connection to 11. And so I think that they really, I understand why there was such a delay in the, Joyce and Hopper getting on board. I do get that. And I feel like a lot of this does feel like a kind of a natural progression. It's like, okay, well, I'm the adult and I'm going to put my foot down and I'm going to keep you safe here. And it's like, but then what does 11 do? But she runs off. So, I mean, while this did not land well, I also kind of understand, I think, what they were trying to do. It could have been done differently. It just could have been.
I get it.
This is too.
I just don't like how it went down.
Not a fan. Didn't like all this time with all these random people that we just didn't get enough time to care about at all. So it just felt like a waste. So with that, Eric,
with that, I think the favorite and least favorite characters are going to go pretty quick here. My favorite character was 11. Yes. How about you?
Yes, my favorite.
Was it also 11?
My favorite character was 11, and my least favorite was
No
Colin.
Kidding. I will go different here. I don't actually hate Kali as much as I could. Because I do feel like there's an opportunity still, I haven't seen any of season 5, but there's an opportunity for her to show up and do something good.
Oh yeah.
Axel with the mohawk, that guy's the worst.
Okay.
He brought nothing good.
Okay, that's fair. But to be clear, I don't always necessarily, I mean, there are folks that I pick as my least favorite that I do loathe, that I think are just awful. But no, I often, it's usually just someone who just doesn't either sit right, or I just feel like hasn't done great things, or is just making bad choices, or I don't know, sort of like Dustin. It's like I love Dustin in some episodes, but he also irritates me immensely in others. But yeah, so Kali here, it's just like, okay, I feel like she was just really trying to manipulate 11 here. And
she was,
and that's where
But there's a redemption arc for her as she was someone who was part of the Department of Energy.
True.
Now I'll say this. When it comes to ratings, my lowest rating on a Stranger Things episode right now is 7.9. And I was thinking to myself, how low can I go here? Like, I want to go to the bottom.
Yeah.
And I try to be reasonable and stay within the range of what I actually think Stranger Things fans have picked.
Sure.
So I'm going to go 7.5 because I don't know that there's going to be one lower than that. But if this was like a 1, I'd be like, yeah, all right, fair enough.
Yeah. So I was saying to Pedro as we were watching this one, because I was like, listen, I'm like, I can't help but wait because I needed to know. So Eric, I'm just being brutally honest with you and with the people, whoever's listening out there, that I made Pedro, I'm like, listen, this is my rating. I'm telling you this as the honor code. So he knows that I did not sway my rating based on, because I'm like, I just need to know what the people say. Because I watched this a while ago. So I'm like, I needed to know. And so I'm like, this is what I'm going to put down. And I asked him too what he thought. Because I'm like, this is just, and I could tell he actually liked it even less than I did, and I did not like it at all. So he said he would give it a 5. And he felt like that was being generous. And I was like, yeah, I'm like, I hear that. I'm like, I don't know if I can go that low though. I'm like, because I feel the same as you, Eric. I'm like, I don't know. I feel like Stranger Things as a whole. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm fully with you though. Like if like I said, if this gets a 1 or a 2, I mean, that would be so insane. But a 5 is reasonable. This is so bad and so out of place.
Yeah. So, well, I gave this a 6.9.
I don't think that's bad.
But after I said it, I was like, is that like crazy low? That's why I'm like, I just need to look.
So you already looked it up. I haven't looked it up. What is it?
It's a 6.0.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what
I was saying. Like, oh my God. What? Like, I mean.
The crowd has spoken. Like, this was not it.
No. A
6.0 seems right. And like I said, I gave it a 7.5 thinking how low an episode can I go that's reasonable. And so I did not think the Stranger Things fans would get lower than a 7.5. So that's why I stuck with that. But I hear you and I'm with all of you.
Exactly. I felt this. I feel the same thing though, is I'm like, I'm feeling like this is rough, but really, like, it can't be that bad. Oh, well, yeah, it was pretty rough. And I think the thing is too, is we were also coming off of a
we were on a run
tier episode. We were going climbing.
The fans voted 8.1, 8.2, 8.5, 8.5, 8.8, 9.1, 6.
6.
What is that?
Yeah, but actually,
because it feels like a side story. You could have woven this in during The Spy. And in even the next episode, you could have taken the next episode, which we will find out more about next week. But you could take all 3 of these episodes and like weave them in, and it would have been more interesting. This by itself, no one likes this.
And this is a 9-episode season. It would have made sense to have 8 episodes and just sprinkle that storyline in throughout the others.
Or you could keep the 9, just slice the scenes up differently. Like, I don't know.
Because I'm really excited now to watch the next one, because I am not remembering at all how they then reconnect all these pieces, because obviously we were left on this cliffhanger with the Demogorgon coming up from below, and it's like, well, what is happening here now?
I remember Mike being visibly upset at Hopper when he finds out about 11.
Oh, does that happen in the next episode, do you think?
I think it is either 8 or 9. It happens this season, I'm pretty certain.
Yeah.
But like, we're about to reunite the whole gang, and this is going to go real well. Whether it's a good outcome or a bad outcome is irrelevant. It's about to be entertaining television, not like whatever it is we just watched.
That's right. But it was fun to talk about regardless. And I was excited to talk with you about this episode because of how weird and out of place it is.
So maybe my theory about this all being a vision of Kali's would make this episode better, right? They would certainly want to tie all this back into the worst episode they've ever had.
If the entire series hinges on their worst episode, which actually, Eric, so I just went back into IMDb, and one of the pieces of trivia is this is the worst rated episode of the series.
It has to be. It's a 6, Amanda. Yes. What are we talking about? Like, their average is an 8.6. How many episodes can be lower than 6?
Well,
like 0?
None. Yeah.
I mean, we've been doing Friends. Friends is an 8.9. We never get below a 7.6.
It's true.
This is a 6.
Yeah.
You know, far below that? That's unbelievable.
Yeah. Not good.
Which also means there's about to be some real good ones.
Oh, so looking forward. Yeah, this season ends really, really well. And then...
But it's funny because I've been trying to find out. I'm like, how does this work? How is there an 8.6 average? When we're giving all these scores like 8.8, 8.9, 9.1, whatever.
This is
why.
It right
this
down.
Is why.
Yes, if it wasn't for this episode.
We've got an anchor carrying it down.
Man.
Well, thank you so much for listening to the We Run on Reruns podcast. Please follow us on our socials, our Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. Check those all out. Repost, like, subscribe. Do all the things you do on your social media. We really appreciate you guys following us along there. Again, we would love it if you could check out our website at werunonreruns.com, where you can find full episodes of all of our podcasts, not to mention finding them on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, among others. For Amanda, this is Eric. Enjoy, hopefully, watching Season 2, Chapter 8 this week. Happy rerunning, everybody.
See you later, guys.